Hello, my name is Marc J. I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Maryland. I've been practicing since 1980, approximately 37 years. My areas of practice typically involve workers' compensation and car accidents. Today I'm here to talk about what it's like to go to a Maryland workers' compensation trial at the Workers' Compensation Commission. Typically on the day of the hearing, you will appear and there will be many other hearings on that particular day. The hearings tend to take anywhere from 5 minutes to 2 hours depending on how complicated the case is. When your case is called, you will go up to the witness stand. Your attorney will appear there. At the trial table will be the lawyer who represents your employer and your insurance company, and there may be an employer from another fund called the Subsequent Injury Fund. Before the hearing starts, the person that hears the case is called the Workers' Compensation Commissioner. They are the ones that make the decision in your case. You will typically not get a decision on that particular day, as the commission is going to listen to your testimony, listen to the testimony of the witnesses, listen to what the lawyers have to say in closing, and then when the cases are over for the day, read over the medicals, compare that with the testimony, and then render a decision. Sometimes you get the decisions the next day. Sometimes it can take as long as a month. At the beginning of the hearing, the witness will be sworn in, which is usually the person who's filing the claim, and then the workers' comp commissioner will ask the following questions. What was the date of the accident? Is there a claim for dates missed, which is called temporary total? What are the issues that are to be heard in the case? What is the average weekly wage of the claimant, meaning in the last 14 weeks before the accident, how much money did the claimant make? And those are the typical questions. After that, and the commissioner understands what the issues are, then the hearing will start. Typical questions asked in the beginning are, what is your name? What is your address? And then basically describe what happened. How did you get injured in the particular case? So, what is the date of the injury? On that date, what were you doing? What were you supposed to be doing? What time did you get at work? Who were you with when the accident happened? And then describe what happened. Describe how you hurt yourself. What parts of your body did you hurt? After you hurt yourself, were there any witnesses? If so, what are their names? Who did you complain about your injuries to? When did you complain about your injuries? What injuries did you complain about? Describe the mechanism of injury, meaning how exactly you injured each part of your body when you did hurt it. What did the employer do as a result of you telling them you were injured? And then after that, what medical treatment you had. Did you go to the emergency room right away? Did you go by ambulance? What treatment did you have at the emergency room? What recommendations did they make at the emergency room after that? Did they give you time off from work? After that, did you follow up with a doctor? If so, what did the doctor do? What treatment did he provide? Did you have physical therapy? Did you have any x-rays? Did you have any recommendations for surgery? Did you go back to work? If you didn't go back to work, what type of work do you do? Why were you unable to do that type of work? If there's a recommendation for surgery, what is it specifically that your problem that you're having? Why do you want to have the surgery? Are you willing to have the surgery? Have you gotten a second opinion? Are you aware that the insurance company's doctor says that you don't need the surgery, that it's not related, or that it won't help you? Did you discuss that with your doctor? Do you still want to have the surgery? Then I may ask you about whether you had injured that body before, whether you had ever filed a workers' compensation claim before. If you had, what body parts did you injure? Had you ever been involved in an auto accident before? What body parts had you injured? Where did you treat? Did you have any other jobs at the time of the accident? If there were witnesses, who were the witnesses? And then basically, did you ever return back to work? If not, why are you not working now? If the hearing is about permanent injury, Then we may ask you, what present complaints are you having? Did you have any of these complaints before the accident? If so, what complaints did you have before the accident? What complaints do you have now? Are you able to go back to the type of work you were doing before? If not, why not? If yes, do you have any limitations? Are you able to do your full activities at home? Are there any activities at home that you're not able to do that you used to be able to do? If, let's say you had shoulder surgery and now you have permanent issues from that, are you able to get full range of motion with your shoulder? Can you lift it straight up? Can you lift it straight back? If you can't, does it hurt? Describe what it feels like when it hurts. What motions make it hurt? What are the specific life activities that you can't do? Let's say you have a bad back. Are you able to bend? Are you able to stoop? Are you able to stand for long periods of time? If so, how long? Are you able to walk? If you can walk, how long can you walk before you have to sit down? If you can't sit for long periods of time, how long can you sit? If it affects you when you're sleeping, tell me when it does and what happens. What medications are you presently taking? Those are the type of questions that we would typically ask, and then we'll go through each body part. And you have to take your time. This is your chance to tell the commissioner all of the problems you have, and you don't want to leave anything out. I'll ask you what type of work you've done in the past. Let's say you are unable to do the type of work you were doing before, and we're trying to figure out if you're entitled to vocational rehabilitation, meaning some help looking for new work. We'll ask you what your work history is. We'll first ask you what type of work you did at the time of the accident, why you're not able to do that type of work anymore. What is it about the injuries you have that prevents you from doing that? Is your employer willing to provide you light duty or make accommodations? If not, what other efforts have you made to look for work? What other type of work have you done in the past? Can you go back to that type of work? If not, why not? What is it about your injuries that limit you from doing that? What is your educational background? How far did you go in school? Are you able to read and write? Are you able to work with computers, etc.? What other vocational training have you had? Are there anything that you've ever done in the past that you could go back to doing, or do you need help by way of a vocational counselor to figure out what type of work it is and then help you find work? Then after I as the plaintiff's attorney am done asking questions, the other lawyer gets to ask you questions on cross-examination. Their cross-examination is going to try and make it look like you're either exaggerating your injuries or exaggerating your inability to go back to the type of work you were doing before. They will also ask you about prior injuries that you have. Now, while I'd ask you about prior injuries, I'm just asking for some basic facts. They're really going to get into them. So typically they'll have your medical records from the prior injuries that you have, or I may have put those records in and even gathered them for them, but they're going to really go through them with a fine-tooth comb to go over what complaints you were having before and why the problems you're having now are similar to those, and that the problems you're having today really aren't related to the new accident, but are perhaps related to the old accident. They may have records about injuries that you didn't report to your lawyer or anyone else. So they may go through those records and try and show that you're trying to hide those. They can subpoena records. The insurance companies submit all claims to a central agency so that they have access to those, and they may know that you settled 3 other auto accidents that you denied that you had, or they may go through the Workers' Comp Commission directory to see what prior claims you've had, and they may have sent for those records and now can cross-examine you on those records when you said you were having no complaints, and we now see that when you went to the family doctor, you've been complaining about the same thing for the last 30 years. In addition, they are going to ask you about They could ask you about your prior criminal record, although more often than not, the Workers' Comp Commission will not allow that. They may ask you about the medical treatment that you had. If it's an issue about whether you need surgery or not, they may ask you, whether you've gone over with the doctor, the negatives and positives, whether you're aware of what the IME said that said you don't need the surgery, or that you needed the surgery before the accident and this is nothing new. Those are the type of questions that they will typically ask. They may ask you about the actual treatment you had and whether you kept your appointments. They may ask about what you told different doctors at different times. So let's say you went to Dr. A and you told him you injured this part of your body, and then you went to Dr. B and told him you injured that part of your body. And if your medical records are not consistent, they're going to pick that up. And they may ask you, you told Dr. So-and-so you were fine, now you're in here telling us you're dying and you can't survive and you need to have all this treatment. They may ask you, why you told the doctor these injections that you're now asking for weren't helping. Why are you in here asking for more of them? So they're going to go through your medicals with a fine-tooth comb to try and pick out things that are inconsistent with what you're telling the Workers' Comp Commission today. They may call other witnesses who are going to say either that you described the accident itself different, or that you've been telling everyone else you're fine. They can look on your Facebook page or any other media page and see that you've been going to all these parties and celebrating, that you're out drunk and everything else, and you've put all this on Facebook, and they're going to start cross-examining you about that. They may have been following you with video. You can usually tell at a workers' compensation hearing when the insurance company has hired a private investigator to follow you with a video camera, because they start asking you, can you do this, can you do that? As soon as I hear that, I know they're about to play a video after you're done testifying, showing that they have video of you doing the activities you just testified that you were unable to do. After you're done, the insurance company may call witnesses, including the employer, to testify that whatever you said about the type of work you were doing is not correct, and that it's much later than that, and that based upon the limitations the doctor's given you, you're able to do that type of work, or that you were a lousy worker, or that you've been complaining about all of these things from day one. Those are typically questions they'll first set up by asking you about, and then later putting on witnesses to say something else. And then after that, if we want, we can put on a rebuttal witness, and then the testimony will close. Your case will be over, the next case will start, and then eventually you'll get a decision from the Workers' Compensation Commission. That is what typically happens at a Workers' Compensation Commission hearing. My name is Mark Addis. I am from the law office of Mark Addis & Associates. I am located at 6 East Mulberry Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202. My phone numbers are 410-752-4878. My 800 number is 800-749-4878. My email address is maddis, A-T like Tom, A-S like Sam, at Addis Law, like lawyer, L-A-W.com. Thank you for listening.